Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Some of you actually mentioned in the last couple of videos that I've uploaded that something sounds funny with my voice. Jingles, are you okay? I'm actually coming down with a cold, and I have a really nasty sore throat, so this is going to be the last video I put up for a couple of days while I try to recover. Sadly, that means there's going to be no Mingles with Jingles this week. I know a lot of you look forward to that, but talking hurts. So you know, when talking is what you do for a living, that's a bit of a bummer. So, since this is the last video I'm putting up for a couple of days while my throat recovers, I better make it a good one. This is Jamholder, and he's driving the 88 British Tier 6 tank destroyer on the Windstorm map. The British tank destroyers are a funny breed of machines. They're very different than most other nations' tank destroyers, and they generally, well, they don't tend to have those big knockout guns that you get on the Russians and to some degree the Americans, for example. Machines like the SU-100, the SU-100Y, the mighty box tank, things like that. But instead, they have to whittle you down over time, and so they tend to have, well, the gun selection on the 88 is interesting. It's basically got a choice of two top Tier 7 guns. One of them is the gun from the Comet, and the other one is the gun from the TOG. So you've got a choice of a gun that goes on a Tier 6 heavy tank, a premium Tier 6 heavy tank, the 17-pounder, or the 77mm QF gun that goes on the Tier 7 medium tank, the Comet. Now you may be thinking, oh, well, that's no contest. I'll get the gun that goes on the Tier 7. Yeah, but it's a gun that goes on a Tier 7 medium. And while a lot of the Tier 7 mediums are good tanks, most of them have pretty mediocre guns. Oh, a quick word here about what Jamholder's doing. This is ideal positioning for the 88. He's able to still point his gun down that road, but he's managed to cover up the commander's hatch on the top and the machine gun port at the front on the right-hand side of the hull, which are the two major weaknesses, certainly from the front of the 88. So he's basically presenting mostly nothing but 203mm of armour and this rapid-firing 17-pounder gun to anything coming down that road. He's got a platoon mate there in another 88 with the, oh, it looks like he's using the howitzer, oh dear. But anyway, back to the guns. The 77mm quick-firing gun actually has less penetration and does less average damage than the 17-pounder. Its only advantage is a better rate of fire. It fires around 15 rounds per minute, which is good. But the 17-pounder gun also fires at over 13 rounds per minute and has significantly better penetration and 10 more average damage, so most people tend to go for the 17-pounder, and judging by the muzzle brake, that looks like that's what Jamholder's done here. Unfortunately, that 17-pounder gun is not the only thing that the 88 shares with the TOG. It's also bloody slow. And while our two 88s here have made it at the centre of town and held the centre of town like a pair of bosses, unfortunately nobody was there to fight them. Most of their team had been slaughtered up on the northern end of the map, and the enemy team are now pushing around into the cap. So having just arrived in the centre of town, they now have to turn around and go back the way they came, with having almost nothing to shoot at when they got here. So one of the problems, and it's not confined to the 88 or the TOG 2, people that drive the T28, the T28 prototype, the T95, any kind of big, slow machine will know this is one of the risks that you take when you play heavily armoured machines with really good guns and very low speed. Sometimes the battle can just get away from you, and you find yourself constantly chasing the action and always arriving too late to do anything about it. This was almost one of those games. The enemy team are in the cap. They're winning. I mean, look at this. The scores are 6-11. And there it is. It's an A43. An A43 who's just bouncing shots off the front of Jamholder's 88 as he puts shot after shot into him with this 17-pounder gun. And then his buddy in the other 82, who he's just spotted, finishes him off with the howitzer. Gloin's loin stake there in the other 82. Unfortunately, he's gotten himself into some serious trouble with the Type 58 and the KV-1S. They're outnumbered 2-1. They're very shortly going to be outnumbered a lot more than 2-1. Gloin's loin stake over there in serious trouble on very low health. It's only a matter of time before they get him. They're coming in from all directions there. He's dead. There's now only 3 of them left. Type 58 there, coming round for him. Jam holder sets up on the corner again, ideal firing position. If the Type 58 has any sense, he'll only get one shot at him. Yep, Type 58 does not turn and try to face him from the front. Instead he tries to get around him, so he only got one shot at the Type 58 there. And, yeah, he's not dumb enough. He knows he's turned around. He can see where he's coming from. Instead he's backing up again. Goes for his tracks. Type 58 pretty much does everything by the book here. The two 85mm guns available on the Type 58 are both pretty bad. The best one only has 128mm of penetration with armor-piercing ammunition. Even with premium ammunition, it only has 172mm of penetration, and when you shoot at something that has 203mm of frontal armor, it pretty much means you either have to hit weak spots, or immobilize him by blowing his tracks off and get around the sides and rear. And with standard armor-piercing ammo on the Type 58's gun, even then you're not guaranteed of penetrating. Jamholder is now the only one left alive on his team against 7 enemy tanks. Type 58 is playing the delaying game. He keeps trying to blow his tracks off, give his teammates time to catch up and help him out. Backs off around the corner again. He's doing absolutely everything right. He just has the most horrendous luck of being in a Type 58 when going up against... Oh, there's a T-34 coming behind him and he's firing premium ammunition. Now, I can't blame him for this. If I was in his position in a T-34 going up against an 88, I would be firing premium ammunition as well. He's penetrated him twice with the APCR. Jamholder takes him out. Serious threat, kill him first. Then he turns his attention back to the Type 58. But the rest of them have got to be closing in. There's a T-34-85 who was spotted in the cap circle, who will be heading this way. There's a KV-1S who was in the middle of the town. And here he comes. There's the KV-1S. Now, that's the KV-1S at Tier 6 with the 122mm gun, so this is a patch 9.2 replay. And he's got to kill him first. T-34-85 trying to take cover behind the wreck of the KV-1S. Jamholder is having none of that. The Type 58 still pouring shot after shot after shot into the back. Completely ineffectual. 128mm of penetration is just not good enough. He is having some horrendously bad luck, of course. He must have been getting the lowest damage and penetration rolls possible. And of course, Type 58, terrible gun depression. Some of those shots at close range, you can't get the gun down low enough, they're just sailing right over the top of Jamholder's 88. But then suddenly, a wild Bishop artillery appears down the road and lands a big old high explosive hit on him. Jamholder's got to kill this guy. It's going to take more than 2 shots as well. He's probably going to get hit again. Yep, he did. Oh, it's going to be close. He's got him. Now he just has to kill the Type 58. And now he really does just have to kill the Type 58 because the Covenanter is going to be no threat and the Cheeto is AFK. The rest of this match is pretty much just a big anticlimax after that fight. I mean, the Covenanter's no threat whatsoever. The Cheeto's AFK. That Type 58, though, you have to feel some kind of sympathy for that Type 58 driver. He really didn't do a lot wrong. He didn't try to get into a blazing gun battle with an 88 from the front. He kept trying to get around him. He avoided his fire as much as he possibly could. He took shots at where he actually stood a chance of doing some damage, aimed for weakened spots, aimed for his tracks, tried to immobilise him, keep him pinned in place, give his team time to catch up and back him up, and his team did eventually arrive, and of course all died one by one, leaving him alone once again with the 88. There's the Covenanter. Yeah, Covenanter is never, ever going to do any damage to an 88 from any kind of range. He's got him, and now it's just an AFK Cheeto. And a very, very pissed off enemy T-34 driver, apparently. His jimmies were severely rustled. He managed to contain his anger up until around about this point before he started raging in chat. And according to XVM, he was he had certainly the best stats of anybody on either team. Easily the best player in the game. And here it comes. There you go. He's raging. Shock news just in. Being good at World of Tanks doesn't make you a nice person. Now here's Bob with the sports. So this game's over at this point, and now it's just a question of how many different awards Jamholder can walk away with at the end of this game. I mean, Radley Walters, Top Gun, Kolobanov's medal, obviously, Steel Wall as well, possibly Spartan. He did take a couple of hits when he had less than 100 health left. But there are also a couple of other medals that, if he's devious enough, he can arrange to have. Let's skip to the end of the battle, and I'll show you the sort of thing I'm talking about. He's a sneaky little bugger. And this right here is exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about. He has plenty of ammunition. He's just sitting in the cap circle waiting until he also has an invader medal before he puts the final shot into the AFK Cheeto. He could, if he'd been especially sneaky, blown all of his ammunition, bar one shot, and gotten himself a Faden's medal with his last shot, killing the Cheeto as well. And the pure distilled rage from the T-34 driver in chat is just hilarious. He really, really seems upset about something. And I think that's hilarious. The enemy bishop driver sees the funny side, and he's been a good sport about it. He's congratulated Jamholder on his win, and he's having a good laugh at what he's doing right now. But the T-34 driver, oh no, he's taking it very personally. So skip ahead to the end rather than making you watch the whole thing, where the T-34 driver is wishing death by cancer on Jamholder and his whole family. Jamholder is winning the game and also beating the T-34 at life, and I think that's fantastic. So, results, yeah, pretty much as expected. Ace Tanker, 60,000 credits, 5,000 XP, Spartan, Radley Walters, High Caliber, Top Gun, organised himself a sneaky little invader medal there to go with the Steel Wall and the Kolobanov's medal. And loved the invader at the end, just casually sitting there, waiting for the cap counter to run up before he finished off the AFK Cheeto. If for no other reason than it sent that arsehole in the T-34 into an absolute embolism of rage. and I can think of no better reason for doing anything in World of Tanks than to piss off arseholes like him. So, Jamholder, great game, well played, lucky game, and he acknowledges that himself, but entertaining to watch. Thank you for sending it in. Now, I'm going to go and curl up under a blanket with a nice hot lemon drink or something, and I'll be back in a couple of days when my throat has recovered. In the meantime, take care, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.